Alrighty, now that Goma has been out for a little bit over on JP and Global Dokkan, I figured now would be a good time to sort of do an LR tier list. Now, this one is not going to be a 1 to 10 style format. There's going to be multiple sections for this video, and we are going to start it off with the sort of to be determined characters and then really kind of break it down based on units based into 4 tiers. So the structure for the video will go as follows. The first thing we're going to talk about are the EZA pending section, and then we will go into the 4 separate tiers, and we will sort of just go in order as they are down here, and then move them into the separate spots. So units that have a Z on the bottom right corner are going to be characters that are already EZA'd, and then characters with a Z plus are going to be super EZA'd. Now, keep in mind with this is going to be based completely on my opinion, and if you guys disagree with something, you can let me know in the comment section below. I am more than happy to hear it, and if you are going to argue with people in the comment section below, please be respectful of others' opinions, as again, this is just Dokkan and we're having a discussion. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and get started with the first section, and we're going to go ahead and place all of these specific characters that are in the waiting for their extra buff section first before we really get into the video. Okay, so the first category we're going to be talking about is the needs a super EZA category here. And these are just going to be characters that have gotten their Extreme Z Awakening, and we are sort of just waiting on a super EZA. Now, 4 characters I think here that really kind of stand out that I could potentially move up to like the okay section, which I might do, honestly, might be these 4 right here. The LR 5 years as well as STR Vegito and Physical Buhan. Just because I don't feel like they're, bad enough to the point where they need to be down here for like needing a super EZA. And really, you could say the same thing here with this unit. Like we'll kind of filter that out a little bit. But really what this section is dedicated to are older as summonable LRs that are relying on either limited time buffs to be relevant at this point, or they've EZA'd from like 2023 onward, or from 2023 or prior here. And there's just not really too much to be said about these characters other than we are waiting for additional buffs where, again, limited time buffs can potentially happen as well as sort of, equipment, extra skill orbs, things like that, just things to help buff the characters. But overall, these just mean that they're like, they've gotten their EZA. They're not good enough at this point, and there's not really too much to say about them other than we need to see their super EZA. Now, for the next tier, this is where I think things do get a little bit interesting, is the waiting on their EZA tier. And there are a lot of high-profile units in here that came out during major celebrations, i.e. anniversaries, worldwide download celebrations, and a lot of like very particularly game-changing EZAs. Now, one that sticks out particularly here, I'm sure for most players, especially ones that had played during his prime, if you will, that would be LR Power Awakened Piccolo. You guys know how powerful LR Power Awakened Piccolo is if you've used him at this point, especially back in the day where you had to work with his giant form and the ability for him to take away AoEs and supers and all that fun stuff. You just had a lot of potential with this character. And the oldest LR on this list that does not have their EZA yet is going to be Tapion and Minosha. So for those characters in specific, I think that does make things pretty interesting, again, because they have that active skill where they can remove debuffs for their allies and stuff like that. So again, with that EZA in specific, I think that that could potentially be something to look into. Now, Kai Goku's EZA could be pretty good. STR Future Gohan's EZA has some potential. LR Bulma has a ton of potential. Birdku. There are a lot of very interesting EZAs in here that I think really could be kind of game-changing to a degree. Now, an LR that I think won't be as impactful will be like this Kid Gohan right here, the Tree of Might Goku, but you never know with these things, right? Like, and any EZA in theory could be the best one in the game. You just never know with these things. So that would be it for the preliminary section here of units that we're really not going to have to take any extended time into talking about. But I just wanted to make sure that they got their appreciation. And with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next portion of this video, which is going to be the actual characters that are going to be on the specific tier list. So now, thankfully, this does stay in a decent bit of order here for me, so it's going to cut off, where do we cut off? At Goma here. So after we get to Goma, that's everybody that I wanted to talk about. So we're just going to go down up the list here. So first and foremost, I have Broly. I think that LRZ Broly at this point, I am comfortable putting in, I'm going to say good. I think that he still has some good tools like, the early damage reduction, the guard, the ability to build up his attack, the action break, the AoE. He has good tools in his toolkit, if you will, and he can potentially put in some decent work for you. But the problem is, again, in longer form content and in just content in general these days, that turn one invincibility, basically with the 90% damage reduction, the guard, the support that he's going to be providing, is very nice, but I don't think it's worthy of putting him in the great tier at this point. He is over a year old, and power creep has been considerably aggressive, thinking about where a unit like LR Goma is at, right? Because Goma, I'm sure you guys know where he's going to be on this tier list, but we'll get to that later on. Now, next up, LR Omega Shenron. It is going to be the same thing, where he works really well on the Omega Shenron team, but the problem is, with that in specific, you can beg the question, well, who doesn't, right? Anybody that fits on that team, they tend to work pretty well on it. So that is something to keep in mind. But again, with the damage reduction that he has, with the ability to orb change, as well as sort of just work, freely flow on the team, I think that is nice. But this character does also suffer from a major drawback. And for those of you who have used this team, I'm sure you're familiar with what I'm talking about. LR Omega Shenron does not share, or he shares the same name as the physical Omega Shenron. And not only that, he also shares the same name with the STR Super EZA Omega Shenron. So you're going to find yourself not being able to link this character up with the most valuable character on the Omega Shenron team, being Omega Shenron himself. And that is why, I can't really fully advocate for this character to be any higher than the good tier. But he does work out pretty well on the Omega Shenron team. But again, I don't think he makes like the primary 6, so I can't put him in great or elite, but I do think he is an extremely good character. And he has sort of, made a name for himself with the Omega Shenron team as of the recent, all of the GT buffs. So next up here, we have LR Frieza and 17, and they are going to go into the OK tier. I like their damage reduction, and they are they can be very tanky on that first appearance with the extra 50% damage reduction on top of the 17% damage reduction per attack that they do. So it's very easy to get super high damage reduction on this character. And ultimately, I do think that ends up working out pretty well for specifically this Golden Frieza and 17 unit. So when you're using them and everything sort of goes the way that you want it to go, you're going to notice this team or this unit in a pretty big way. But the problem is now, just with power creep, we are long gone from the days of Tanabata 2024. So with that being said, I can't fully advocate for this Golden Frieza and 17 at this point, but I think OK would be an all right spot to put them, just based on how they've sort of panned out over the last few months, year and a half that they've been easy 8, if you will. So that's going to lead us into the next character here, which is going to be AGL Ultimate Gohan. Not too much to talk about here. Pretty restricted to the Majin Buu Saga team, but that necessarily isn't a bad thing, especially considering some of the options that the Buu Saga team has had over the years, or since he came out. But the problem is, I just don't think he was good enough. Doesn't have the offense or defense to boot. But again, I can't sit here and tell you like this character is just outright awful. But, he can have his moments. So not too much to say other than that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next character on this list, which is going to be the Super Saiyan trio from the Broly movie. Now, if you guys play it during that celebration, you're going to know just how high, the heights this character can do. And essentially what this character brings to the table is value in the form of their just massive support. And with that version of support, you're just able to do a whole lot with this specific unit, right? Making characters hit a lot harder, or not really hit a lot harder, but be able to play a lot better on defense with this unit around, where sometimes that would be an issue for a unit. If you had the Super Saiyan trio around, you're going to be able to make this character look a lot, like characters around them look a lot better. And support is pretty valuable in this game. If you've noticed over the last couple of months, like the trend with a lot of these major characters is support that they can provide, right? Omega Shenron is a behemoth of support, right? Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku, that Daima demonic power team just has a ton of support running around, and it makes it look extremely, extremely oppressive. So when you have these things and you're able to make characters perform better than they typically could, I think that does speak volumes to the value of the character. And not only that, they have the Super Saiyan's leader skill, which is going to be extremely nice for a lot of characters, just due to the fact that, especially if you're a newer player and you have this unit, you're going to be able to build a pretty solid team if they are your only available leader at that time. I think that is going to be pretty valuable for you. So the Super Saiyan trio, very, very good unit. Just a little bit old at this point, and you could kind of say like, oh, we're waiting on an easy A, but the problem with that is they're only a year old, so we're not really into that window just yet. So Next up is going to be LR Captain Ginyu and the Ginyu Force. This is definitely going to be an okay character. Way too limited to the special pose team and all that fun stuff. So you're not really going to be able to get the most out of this unit in most situations. Just, I think overall, a release it's not really worth talking about too much, unfortunately. They just did not pan out the way that we thought they would. Next up is Cellmax, and it's going to be the same case here, where I think they're decent, but they are not elite by any means at this point. Can work out well in the Super Bosses team and stuff like that, but Super Bosses is a bit of an odd setup right now, and I feel like you are not, like, Cellmax isn't like the first character you're running to use in this specific setup. So, again, the unit can work, but it does get a little bit tricky, specifically with Cellmax. So, obviously looks very good on his taunt turn, but what's crazy is we have units or bosses that have supers that hit harder than what Cellmax's taunt turn defense is. So it ultimately ends up being very, very interesting when it comes to like the way that everything is going to work with this unit. So I think that he's decent, but again, I don't want to give him too much credit, because if I give him too much credit, it's just going to get a little bit messy. So I definitely am a fan specifically of Cellmax. I think he was a decent unit for the time that he came out and all that fun stuff. But unfortunately, at this point, I am not all in on Cellmax, if you will. I just think he is okay at this point, and that is completely all right at this point, right? So very good unit, or a pretty good unit, just has a couple flaws, in my opinion, that end up drawing him back a little bit. So you can't really say too high a praise for him, but also can't say too, like, I can't hate on him too much. So next up is going to be Broly from the 9-year anniversary, and it's going to be the same case here with this unit, where he works out very well on the Super Bosses team, right? And works well with other Broly characters. You can toss him on Super Bosses, you can toss him on movie bosses, full power, exploding rage. Just has a lot of different ways to be ran, has a decent domain. There's just a lot of things going on with this character that ultimately I think end up working out pretty well for him. So again, not too many negative things to say about our boy Broly here, but is a bit old at this point. And I think there are better options in the game than this Broly at this point. Next up is going to be Super Gogeta from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Sort of the same case with him here. He has some good tools at his disposal, but to me, he's nowhere near good enough to really justify being any higher than good at this point. Maybe you really could say they're okay, but I'll give them a little bit of a pass. Like, they're all right at this point. Like, you get to Super Saiyan Blue, you have access to the taunt. There's a lot of good things going on with that, and you can't really complain, right? It's just sort of the way it works, if you will. So, pretty exciting stuff there with our boy Super Gogeta having access to the taunt. Very, very valuable. Having access to transformation, the dodging ability. His taunt works out a lot better than other characters' taunts. Because if he dodges all the attacks, right? So you're never really going to be in a situation where you're like, oh, am I going to take too much damage here? When specifically you are using this Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. So just keep that in mind. Next up is going to be the Gammas. I kind of like Gogeta down here. I think I'm going to do that. And then the same thing is going to be said for the Gammas. They have a standby. They can be pretty good defensively. I think they operate pretty well with their ability to do a bunch of additional attacks, getting that extra damage reduction, but you are going to be a little bit restricted to the int orbs with that character, and oftentimes I can find that to be a bit frustrating with the unit. So it's not always going to be the case like that for the unit, but I oftentimes find myself being like, man, like, if only, you know, this had went my way or that had went my way with orbs, we would not have ended up taking the loss there. And a lot of the times I feel like we just end up taking the loss when we use this unit because of things like that. So the Gammas, just okay. Let's move on to the next character, which is going to be STR Beast Gohan. You guys know how I feel about Beast Gohan. He is one of my favorite characters in the game at this point. Has really kind of stood the test of time for me, which is how good he's been. Has early damage reduction, has support with when he gets hit, has a lot of things going his way, and I really cannot complain about that. So like this unit a lot, think he's pretty damn good. The initial damage reduction he has, the ability to protect other characters with his taunt, the short-term viability of this character where a lot of fights are not going past turn 8 or turn 9 where you're going to be losing that intro buff. It's super easy to kind of stay on top of this character, and I really like the way that they designed this Beast Gohan. I would put him on borderline great at this point. And then we are going to move on to Tech Ultra Instinct Goku. So with Tech Ultra Instinct Goku, he's just all right, right? I think good is probably where I'd want to put him. He has a domain that disables dodge canceling attacks, so you have to get some points for that, in my opinion. And then he's also got the ability to provide a lot of supports for other units in the game, like AGL UI Goku, Evolution Blue Vegeta, other Universe 7 sort of characters and things like that in his domain, giving that extra support. It works out extremely well. Jiren, I'm going to put in just okay. Can't really say too much about him. I think he's just like sort of just like an average, like, oh, look, I do big numbers sort of character, which is exactly what he was on release. And I think that's kind of funny, but like, he's all right. Links up very well with the AGL Jiren. And the same thing could be said for STR UI Goku. I think this unit is all right as well. Has some good moments, but the problem is he cannot take a normal at this point, and that is a death sentence for a character. So it is the ultimate gamble of dodge or die, and unfortunately for most cases here on our boy UI Goku, it is going to be like he takes a hit, you lose the fight, like you're done, it's over. So just keep that in mind. Next up, we have AGL UI Goku. And AGL UI Goku, my favorite unit of all time, is going to be staying in Elite. It's really hard to age out 2 turns of guaranteed dodge on top of a revival. There's so many things that like can go right for this character, and he can just fit on a team off lead. He can go on lead with a team. He has okay ability to do, like offensive capability with his additional supers, with his ability to crit. There are avenues for him to be able to get stuff done, and that is what makes him so valuable to me, right? He, again, isn't going to be like the pinnacle of damage in Dokkan, but does he do some okay, respectable attack with his crits? Sure. Does he have the ultimate defensive utility with the inability to be hit on the first turn? Yes. Does he get another revive where he's able to do even more damage than, turns prior? Yes. He's able to get even more dodging, right? There's just so many things that this character does well that it's hard to put them anywhere other than Elite, right? Their ability to build up the dodge as the fight goes on. It's just a lot of really good things going for that character at once, and that's why I have them as high as I do. So ultimately, that's where I would put our boy AGL UI Goku. Let's move on to Evo Ken ZZA, Rainbow Orb Changer, do a lot of attacks. They debuff the enemy. They do a lot of crits. All in all, it is a very solid unit. Next up, the Broly Trio, we're going to put them in good. They are the epitome of high risk, high reward. You get the 7 orbs, they get the guaranteed dodges, they're great. The 50% fails you, you lose. We got to start moving. I didn't realize how long this video was going to be, but we're going to start moving pretty quick. It's going to be like a 7 or 8 second serpent, or a segment on each of these characters. Evolution Blue Vegeta. We will put him, we'll put him in great, right? Has decent utility, damage reduction, guard, revive, additional attacks, very similar damage to UI Goku. You get the idea. Tech Broly, the EZA, very high offensive output, okay defensive output. You're really going to get a ton of usage out of this character in Extreme Z battles. That's just because that's how the event is coded. Next up, Turles, good support. Terrifying Conqueror has the big bad bosses link. A lot of really important things for the character. I really like the way the Turles is designed, but I don't think I can put him any higher than good. The Family Kamehameha Gohan is going to be the same case where I think they are as good as well. The problem with them right now is that their standby, unfortunately, does not quite work to the appeal that you would want for the character. Like, they're not just like face tanking everything that you see. So keep that in mind. I think that the character does have a little bit of issues to deal with, but ultimately I don't think they're too bad. But again, you can find yourself in a little bit of problems when you are running Family Kamehameha Gohan. Int Broly, I'm going to put into the good tier. Well, I think I might move these two up. We'll see. Yeah, I think I like that a little better. We'll put them in great. I think that Int Broly with his domain and his short form content and his ability to stun is vastly good. And he really can kind of hold it down for you in a lot of different forms of content. Next up, Tech Gogeta, also going to be a great character here. What do they have to bring to the table? They have orb changing. They have damage reduction. They have a lot of additional supers. They have a scouter. They have healing. They have all kinds of really good aspects to the game, and as well as a very good link set for some of these other Super Saiyan characters that are going to be working the same way. So keep that in mind. I think that this character is very good. Next up, we got our boy Janemba. I'm going to put them in the good tier because they have a rage mode. They have high defensive capabilities. They're just a very underrated character. You use a dodge build, they're going to hold it down for you pretty well. Next up, I've got Gohan and Piccolo. We'll put them in good. I think they're a little better than these characters down here, but not by much. A very forgettable character. Gohan and Piccolo, Piccolo and Krillin. Wow. Okay, we're going to get this right. Slow down, Vilify. Krillin and Gohan. Very okay unit. It's the same thing here. I think that these two could like go down here, and that's honestly fine. Next up is Go Tanks, and I think this is actually a very good defensive unit, and he also has some offensive capabilities to boot as well. Works out very well on the Fused Fighters teams, the Tech Vegito team, the AGL Gogeta squad. These are very, very good characters that can work well together, and Go Tanks has that 99% damage reduction chance against Ki Blast supers and things like that, so he ends up working out extremely well on multiple different forms of the team. So big fan of our boy Go Tanks here, definitely belongs in the great tier. Next up is Jiren. I'll just put him in good. A little bit better than okay, but not in the great tier. Not really too many places to run him right now. And that's going to be the same case with Goku and Frieza. I think they can work out pretty well in the Festival of Battles, and where they can stun, they'll be fine. But otherwise, I think they leave a lot to be desired. Angel Vegeta, same thing. I think they're good. Nothing too crazy. Tech Vegito, they absolutely are going into the elite tier. One of the better characters in the game. Some of the highest APT that you can get on any unit. If you can stack up and get his taunt, most bosses are not going to make it through that taunt, especially if the fight has gone on a super long time. Next up, Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You guys know, also an elite character. The best aging of the 10-year anniversary LRs at this point. Just really works in every area of the game. Short form content, long form content, support, giant form, dodge, damage reduction, all of the things that you need with a character. This Goku has a little bit of everything. Evolution Blue Vegeta, he's just going to go into good, unfortunately, and the same thing is going to be said for Namek Goku. I think Frieza, you could argue, is great, just has a little bit better early damage reduction abilities and has good links for villain characters. The next thing is going to be said for Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. We'll put him in the great tier. I think he can work out pretty well, has high offense, okay defense. Our boy Super Gogeta, you know he's going towards the top. He's up here with the... So we'll do something like this in case people think it's ordered. They're not. AGL Super Gogeta works out really well, has the support, right? Has a Ghost Usher if you tag into Goku. A lot of really good versatility, can stack both offense and defense. Also has some of the most crazy support in the game. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan with his Super Easy A, I would say is good. Don't find myself using the character very often, but he's not bad. Grade 8 Vegeta, it works extremely well on the Giant 8 power team, right? Has good damage reduction alongside Super Saiyan 4 Goku. He's not really going to be letting you down very often. Next up, Kaioken Goku. I think Kaioken Goku is a very, very like offensive heavy character, but the problem is he needed more buffs with STR orbs. That's really what it comes down to for me. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, as well as the Tech Gods. You guys know how much I like these characters here. They are extremely, extremely good. The ability to stack, the action break, their active skills, you're going to have them whenever you need them. The damage reduction from 77% that you get twice during the fight on their initial turn and when they fuse/transform. Just a very well-rounded character that can be used in all forms of content. Next up, Kale and Caulifla. We'll put them in great. I think they're a very good character. When they came out, they were roughly around the top 10 or so. Pretty good unit, I would say. Pycon, same case, just great, right? Like not really too much to say. He gets serious, he gets moving, has decent offense, decent defensive capabilities. You guys know how he operates. Next up, our boy Goku and Hit. I'd put them in good, not quite great. With TN, it's going to be the same case. I think they're great, but the problem is just the team around them is a little bit wonky. You run them next to Tao, you're going to reap the benefits. If you don't run them next to Tao and stuff like that, sometimes the team can look a little bit, it can get a bit awkward. Next up, STR Goku. You guys know where I'm putting him. Goku and Vegeta, the blue boys. Fake Vegito blue. The ability to cancel dodge. The ability to stack. Very good active skills. Vegeta can you can tag into Vegeta and finish off a phase if you need to. You have the defensive capabilities of blue Goku. Just a very solid all-around character and was really the best unit in the game, consensus for most people until a couple days ago. Continuing to move, STR Rose, also going to be going in the elite tier. This is a very good unit with very good offense, very good defense. Has very hard-hitting active skills, and can hold it down on the Omega Shenron team just fine. Int Merge Zamasu is going to go into great. I think they handled his Easy A extremely well with his orb changing, his ability to get extra supers and things like that. Works well offensively, works well defensively, links up with a lot of good characters, has the Future Saga link set that you're looking for, has big bad bosses, legendary power, fierce battle, all of those things that you want from like a future character, and then also has like crutch links that you can use to link up with villain characters like big bad bosses, fierce battle, legendary power. Just a lot of really good things that you can do with this unit, and I can't really say too much else about them. Next up, AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. You guys know this character is going into the elite tier. Really, really, really good early guard, early damage reduction, defensive support with GT heroes and things like that. The ability to build up his attack And especially with Trunks and Vegeta around, if you're running them in the festival, they can be ran in basically all forms of content. The ability to counter blast supers, do all of those fun things, makes for a extremely valuable unit that I think really you could make a good case for being one of the best in the game. I'd say he's in the top 5, wherever you want to put him in said top 5, as long as it's not like 1 or 2. I think it's a good spot for him. Gohan and Goten, I would put in the great tier. Not quite elite. Kuroda Body and Mind's a bit of a weird team. This is going to feel like a forgettable LR in my opinion. Next up, Omega Shenron. You guys know this is an elite unit. We don't have to spend too much time talking about him. His villain team has been absolutely phenomenal over the last couple of months, and they have given him plenty of buffs to boot. So ultimately, this is one of the better characters in the game for sure. High damage reduction, high support, good domain effects, good super attack effects, an AoE, an action break. Just really a solid all-around character. Trunks and Vegeta is going to be the same thing. Especially if you're running them in the Festival of Battles, they are going to be quite good. Mighty Mask, I would put in great as well. A very well-handled Super Easy A for sure. The Hybrid Saiyans are also going to be going in the elite tier, one of the best characters in the game for sure. The Youth and Hybrid Saiyans team has definitely seen the buffs that they've needed as of recently. Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan, I would put towards the top of great. One of the better Easy As that they've done. You can run him in a lot of forms of content, and he's going to hold it down for you pretty well. Golden Frieza and Gogeta, I would put in the elite tier. They have a lot of good tools and accessibility for you to be able to run the unit in a lot of different ways. You have a taunt, you have the dodge capabilities of Tech Gogeta, just a lot of good things that unit can do very well. Super Easy A Broly, we are going to put into the great tier as well. I think they are one of the better options in the game. Early onset damage reduction, high offensive capabilities, decent defensive capabilities, an AoE, which is always nice, like it doesn't hurt to have it, and the ability to do multiple supers. He's just going to hold it down for you very well. Tech Broly, I'm going to put him in great, but I don't love it. He is a Festival of Battles merchant, so he would be like right around here, right? He's just, you run him in the Festival of Battles, and that's really about it. Super 17, I think he's good, or he's great. Works well on the GT Bosses team. Not quite elite, but a very good LR. Golden Frieza's Easy A. We'll put him towards the top of good. 90% damage reduction, and it doesn't go down every single turn anymore. Very solid defensive character. Links up extremely well with this Golden Frieza. Not too much to complain about. Next up, the Super Easy A for Majin Vegeta. Also going into great. I think that they handled that one super well. And then last but not least, as you guys know at this point, the best character in Dokkan, LR Goma. So that is going to be the tier list. I didn't realize how many LRs I was going to have to talk about, so it ended up being a little bit longer. For those of you guys who made it to the end here, comment an orange heart or something like that. So that way I know you made it to the end of the video and you hopefully enjoyed listening to me talk about LRs for about a half hour. And if you did enjoy this one, don't forget to leave a like before you go. Let me know your agreements and disagreements in the comment section. Again, characters can be moved up and down. It's just a loose tier list. And please remind people in the comments that the tier lists are not ranked, or the tiers individually are not ranked. And then also that we have characters here at the bottom that are sort of in buff purgatory, where we are waiting for a super easy A or an easy A for the character alone. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to leave a like before you go. Subscribe if you're new, so that way you don't miss out on any of my Dokkan content. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I love you as always. If you want to become a member, click the join button in the description, and I'll see you all in the next one. Love you guys.